everybody, it's Denise with Lazy K Homestead. Well, today I am going to make quiche. Quiche is really an easy dish. I'm going to make it completely from scratch, but you don't have to make it from scratch if you don't want to. And the reason I'm saying that is you don't have to make your pie crust homemade. I did because I had some already in the freezer and I'm thawed it out. But if you've got a pie crust, just put it in your pie pan, and or if you got one already in one of those tin pans, just go ahead and set it out on the counter and let it thaw out. And you're going to want to blind bake it at 375 for 15 minutes. And a blind baking means you're going to put wax paper or parchment paper inside. Say this has your pie crust in it. Lay your wax paper or parchment there, and then put some beans or rice on top of it, and go ahead and bake it at 375 for 15 minutes. And what that's going to do is make this perfectly shaped, just like this pie crust, and then we'll go on with the quiche. So with quiche, it's kind of like whatever you want to. I'm going to make broccoli and onion, a little garlic, and I've got Colby Jack cheese. I've got some Parmesan cheese. It takes 5 eggs, and I have a lot of eggs because we do have chickens. But this is a really good dish because it's easy and it's fast. And if you don't have time, it takes about 40 minutes in the oven. And if you've got all your ingredients, you just chop them up, saute them, layer them in your pie pan, and cook. So that's an easy dish to me. So I'm going to go ahead and get started here. What I've done already is chop 1 large clove of garlic, and I've got that minced pretty well. And let me go ahead and put my tripod down so you can see what I'm doing, because you don't have to see me. As I always say, it's more important to see what's going on down here. Now I'm going to finely chop this onion. Now you can use green onion, scallions, whatever you've got on hand. So that's what I mean about quiche. It's really kind of just a throw together. I've got bacon that I fried up. You can use ham if you've got that. You don't even have to use meat if you don't want to. It's completely up to you. It'd be a good meal that doesn't even have to have meat in it, because the cheese is a really good protein. Okay, let's make sure I get this finely chopped at the end. And I'll just go ahead and go over it, because I do want it finely chopped. Now, if you only had the greens from your onion, that would be good too, because you just really want the flavor, and that would be pretty to have the green tops of the onion. I don't have any. Okay, I'm just trying to get this nicely chopped. All right, there we go. So I've got a tablespoon of butter over in my frying pan, and I'll meet you over there. And there's the bacon frying. I slice it in about, I don't know, 1/4 inch slices, and then I'll crumble it again once it's nicely fried. I've got my butter melted. In there, and again, it's 1 tablespoon. You can use olive oil if you want to use it, or you can use some bacon grease if you've got that, or you can use vegetable oil. It's completely up to you. I've got my onion in here. I'm going to go ahead and just saute that around, and then I'll add my other ingredients, which will be the garlic and the chopped broccoli. So I've got this on medium, and we're just going to go ahead and let that start sauteing. All right, my onions has started to saute, so I'm going to go ahead and put in my minced garlic, 1 clove. Mix that around and get that sauteed just a little bit. I turned down my stove here. So I don't want my garlic to burn, because that is so nasty. Okay, so while that is just lightly sauteing, I'll bring you guys over here. I have got my broccoli in here with my onion and my garlic, and I'm just going to kind of toss it around. You're not really cooking this unless you are using fresh broccoli or fresh spinach, and then you'd want to cook it until it is tender. But since I'm using frozen spinach that I got all the water out of, which you'll see in a minute on the video, I'm just really tossing this together and just getting it to where it's all well mixed. Okay, so there's that, and I turned that off. I've got my oven set on 375. This broccoli we grew and froze last spring, and so I'm just thawing it out, and I wrapped it tightly after it was thawed in a paper towel and then a tea towel, and I squeezed it really hard to get all the water out of it, because you don't want water in your broccoli. If you can use fresh, that's great, but I wanted to use what I had on hand. I rolled out my pie crust, and I am just going to go ahead and crimp it. Now, like I said, if you've got a pie crust already in your fridge, you go right ahead and use that. You know, because it's like semi-homemade. There used to be a show on Food Network called that. I used to love to watch that show, and that lady that was on there. So I hope that's not a copyrighted name, because I just said it. Let me go ahead and cut some of this off here. I'm going to have to put some on here. A little weak right here. All right, there we go. And I'll get some milk and just make sure I've got that in there. Just okay. So there we've got that ready to go. Let me get a fork. And I'm going to go ahead and pierce this. And I've got some parchment paper here. I'm going to go ahead and cut. And then I will pour some beans in it. And like I said, what this does is keeps your pie crust in place. Let me go get that milk real fast. So what I want to do is fix my place right there. Where I had to add that little piece of pie crust because I was a little weak right there. And if you guys have seen my videos on pie crust, this is how you mend it. You mend them. You just take a little bit of milk with your finger and you just smear it on the crease, and it will bring both of them together and make a pie crust. Okay. There we go with that. Okay, I've got my parchment paper on top of my pie crust, my raw pie crust. And I'm just going to go ahead and fill this with beans. These are just dried pinto beans that I keep on hand. And I'm going to go ahead and level them out like so. And we will put this in our oven on 375. For 15 minutes. While we're baking our pie crust, we're going to go ahead and get the rest of the ingredients together. Now I've got my broccoli, onion, and garlic here. And I am going to add to that my chopped bacon that I've already fried. Now if you have ham or chicken, it's completely up to you what you guys want to put in here. Like I said, it's easy, kind of what you've got in your fridge, leftovers. That's what I always think quiche. Even though it is a kind of a, I guess, delicate meal, it's really nice because you can use leftovers. So I'm just going to leave that there. And then over here, I have got 5 whole eggs, which I'm scrambling very nicely. And to that, I'm going to add 1.5 cups of milk. You can use whole milk, evaporated milk, 2%. I'm using 2% because that's what I usually use. And I'm just mixing that around. Okay, and to that, I'm going to add 1/3 cup of Parmesan cheese. We've always got Parmesan cheese on hand. We like spaghetti, so I've always got that in the fridge. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and mix that really well. I'm going to go ahead and salt and pepper my eggs. And this is to taste. So just a few shakes. We like a lot of pepper, as you guys know. So I'm just mixing that around. And also what I'm going to go ahead and put in here is a few little shakes of some cayenne. There we go. Well, actually, that is not cayenne. That is jalapeno, and I don't want that in there. I'm going to go ahead and get this. Sorry, I'm in the way. But we grow these, and we dry them ourselves in the dehydrator, and then I just chop them up in the food processor. But I will tell you, if you're going to do that dehydrator outside on your back porch or your front porch or your patio, because it will definitely make you cough because all that comes out in the air. Also, if you're going to use your food processor, same thing. Make sure that you have a ventilated room if you don't have access to a porch or a patio. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and let all this sit while we're waiting on our pie crust. Now, what I've also got, I've got 1 cup of shredded cheese. I'm using Colby Jack. You can use pretty much whatever you want. I've got mozzarella I could have used, or cheddar, just Monterey Jack, whatever you guys want to use. That's up to you. And then after that, I will use a little bit for the topping when we get everything together. Okay, so everything is ready. So see, that was pretty simple. So we'll just wait on that pie crust, and I'll be back to put it together. Okay, guys, here's the easy part. I've got my baked pie crust. It was baked for 15 minutes blind, and I took out the beans. So here it is, ready to go. Now, it's not going to be completely cooked, so don't think that. It's still raw. So what we're going to do now is we're going to layer our ingredients. And this is easy and fun. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to put in this 1 cup of cheese right in the bottom. Just kind of level it around, you know, so it's nice and even. Then we're going to go ahead and we're going to put in our broccoli, onion, garlic, and bacon mixture. And we're just going to put all of that right on top of that cheese. I think it's going to be very yummy. But, you know, like I said, and I don't mean to keep repeating myself, but, you know, if you've got spinach or whatever, you guys go ahead and use it. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we are going to put our egg mixture right on top of that. Now this is a 9-inch pie pan. All of this should go ahead and soak right in there. I'm going to go easy with it just to make sure that it goes down, and you want to make sure you go all over your broccoli mixture. There we go. All right, that did really well. And then I'm just going to take my spoon and make sure that that broccoli went ahead. That egg got in there. Really nice. Okay, now it's going to be full. That's why I've got it on a cookie sheet. And I have a piece of parchment paper. And I'm going to put this whole thing back in a 375 oven. Now next, what I'm going to do is I am going to take cheese. And this is my Colby Jack that I had. And I am just going to put a handful or so right on top, just to cover everything. It doesn't have to be super thick. There you go. Maybe a handful and a half. All right, there we go. Now my oven is still ready on 375. I'm going to go ahead and put this in the oven, and we will be back in about 50 minutes. See you then. And here it is, the beautiful quiche. I cut a piece, and it is so delicious. I hope you guys will give this a try. Hope you'll have a great evening. Like, share, and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. See you soon. Bye.